next speaker is Yvonne. Talk about EPO.
Thank you. Well, the funny part will be now if I run over. Okay, so giving a science talk is different from giving an EPO talk. I realized this last night. Usually, I assess the data and decide how I'm going to present it and tell you what the story is. Here, when I assessed the data, I found so much, but in so many different areas, it's really hard to give you one overarching message. But what I wanted to do is let you know what the NLSI is doing in terms of EPO. Now, this includes our teams, and why is this not working? There we go. Okay. This includes our teams. We have 7 teams, and I have broken down what they do in terms of these categories on the left, and on top of that, what the role is of NLSI Central. Here at Ames, we have a small staff of about 15 people, and we have a director of EPO and communications. That's Doris Dow, and she does a fabulous job of integrating all of this together. But the way I see it, we are 7 teams with one mission, and that mission is to reach, to teach, and to inspire. And I hope that you will see yourself somewhere in the plethora of activities that I'm about to tell you about, because we welcome participation by everybody. This is reaching out to all of you. These are the NLSI teams. In blue, you can see the principal investigators. You know them all. They're the leaders in our field, and we are so pleased to have these outstanding teams that are studying all sorts of interesting phenomena in, of, and from the moon. The education EPO leads associated with each of these teams are also listed here, and I would encourage you to go and find them and talk to them sometime during the course of this meeting, especially if you find a place to plug in to one of the activities that we're talking about. And after this talk, Emily Kobab-Aman is going to talk to you about the vision that we have for lunar science EPO in general. NLSI is a small part of that, but I hope an important part of that. And we want to connect the world together so that we can all study the moon. So here's the role, as I see it, of the NLSI Central Office. With Doris Dow, we have her deputy, Joe Manafra, Brad Bailey, who is also our staff scientist, but happens to also be in charge of the higher education component of EPO. And we have an intern, Ashkan Nijad. Again, you'll see these name tags, you'll see the individuals. Please introduce yourself and talk to them. What we try to do, what Doris does very effectively, is provide one voice for the NLSI in EPO to the NASA headquarters EPO counterparts. She also ensures that NLSI stays very connected to the greater community. We're present at every major conference. She manages a small discretionary fund that supports the NLSI teams. But if there are requests that you have from the community that can connect to us as well, we'd like to hear it. We don't have a big budget, but we're creative, and sometimes we can leverage partnerships and get things done that don't cost very much money. We also support NLSI focus groups on EPO. 2 of these groups, one led by Cass Runyon and another by Emily Kobab-Aman, have just produced something of value to the entire community. In fact, in Cass Runyon's case, the Braille book that we just had an unveiling of last night is for the entire world. The lunar craters are now accessible to anyone who is sight impaired. So, I mentioned the 4 that are definitely involved in EPO, but the truth is our entire NLSI EPO staff gets involved with EPO. And we do have tea time every once in a while, and this is a picture from one of our tea times where we got especially carried away in reaching out, and I thought you might enjoy that. There are a few extra people that aren't always in the NLSI staff, but you'll see the bulk of the people that make us up here. Whoops. I didn't do that. Can somebody bring it back? Okay. Well, so I was just about to get to the part where I actually outlined what we're doing in various different areas. So let me quickly get to that. One of the things we do, of course, is science community outreach. You know about this. You're here today, the Lunar Science Forum. We also have community events like the International Observe the Moon Night. If you don't know about that, I hope you'll get connected to it and participate this year. I believe it's October 8th. October 8th. Okay, we are also starting Workshops Without Walls, modeled after the NAI, the NASA Astrobiology Institute. And we will have these virtual workshops. The first one is September 7th. It's on the lunar swirls, the enigmatic lunar swirls. Please join us for that. And we also have focus groups. And you know about those. They're meeting at lunchtime today. This is what we do for early career. We have Lunar GradCon. They met on Sunday. We have postdoctoral fellowships. We added one to that now for the Barry Blumberg Memorial. And we have the Next Generation Lunar Scientists and Engineers, a group that also meets before the forum. And we try to promote their early careers and get them off on the right track. We do a lot of outreach to undergraduates. And this year, of course, you'll see many of these undergraduates in our lightning round talks. We have travel grants. And by the way, there were some travel grants that were never applied for this year for this meeting. So students, if you are willing to give a poster, send us an application for a travel grant. And the Year of the Solar System Undergraduate Research Conference, which was held at LPI. Okay, we do a lot of public outreach and formal education, many teachers' workshops, things from middle school and high school. I'm going to have to gloss over some of these quickly now. We have continuing on in formal education for teachers and faculty. So faculty members at colleges as well, not just at the high school level. We have online courses, Geology of the Moon, which was done out of the Brown MIT team. Educators of the Moon, On the Moon, From the Moon. These are targeted for teachers in grades 6 through 12, and in the last case in grades K through 12. So a lot, the message is that there's a lot going on, a lot aimed at teachers, a lot aimed at students, and a lot for the community. Okay, this is another list. There are some more of these workshops, the Cosmos in the Classroom workshop, workshops for college and undergraduate faculty. We have, well, this one you just saw, okay. We have this online mentoring program where we match up scientists with high school students. And of course, I should have said earlier, in parentheses, I put the name of the NLSI team that is leading this, or in the case when it's NLSI Central, or we're participating, I put them in there too. We have high school teacher workshops that APL is running, and the Lunar Extreme workshops that the Dream Team at Goddard is running too. Student summer camps at APL. I mean, this just goes on and on and on. When I started collecting the data for this, I couldn't believe how much there was. The Sally Ride Summer Festival, and there are just so many opportunities to be engaged. Traveling lunar exhibits for libraries. There are hands-on training for librarians to try and get them better connected to the content that you're hearing about from all these missions. And today you have a special opportunity, as I told you earlier, to come hear about Max Goes to the Moon. This was an award-winning children's book, and Jack Burns' team at the University of Colorado, with Doug Duncan as his EPO lead, have turned this into a fabulous program that will be distributed to planetariums across the country. Please come and give us your input. The Museum Alliance Partnership, it's wonderful to be connected in this way to museums so that exhibits can have the up-to-date content that they need to have to educate everyone. I put this in just because it's got all my favorite places. I love the water and I love the moon. And of course, this is where every UFO ends up finding its way, right? It's always two fishermen in the middle of Alabama. And so that was the first thing I thought of when I saw it. So that takes me into citizen science, which is another really, really important component of what we can all do. Through citizen science, Every single person who loves the moon can get involved with trying to identify different parts of it. And Barry Blumberg loved this activity. So we have Moon Zoo, launched in May of 2010, and 45,000 participants have already signed up. 4.2 million areas of interest have been identified, and I'm told that could be possibly 6,000 craters. And I have 2 minutes. This is good, I can do this. Web and social media. A lot of websites are developed. I listed just a few of them here. Our central lunarscience.nasa.gov, our website, will connect to any of these. So you don't have to write all these names down, but I do want you to go and explore them because they're fabulous. And by the way, we're right on the verge of launching a new website for the NLSI as well. It's not quite ready yet. I wanted to show it to you today, but I can't. And there's social media, of course, blogging and Facebook and Twitter. These are just beautiful, inspirational images because we're all climbing our way to the moon, and we all love the fact that somebody hung it up there. Somehow it was hung up there. And media outreach, workshops to prepare journalists. This is a very important component because you want to make sure that the journalists have a good scientific foundation before an event happens that they then have to understand. And that's what these workshops are designed to do. Get them up to speed and get them connected. And this is another just beautiful, inspirational one. We're talking about water on the moon. Water, the moon. And I will end by saying the NASA Lunar Science Institute is very grateful and humble to be part of this wonderful effort of reaching out to everyone, bringing lunar science to a whole new generation. Thanks very much.
Wanda Davis, NASA Ames. Thank you, Yvonne. We have another generation, and that generation is moving into assisted living facilities, and yet they're very interested. Although they've lacked mobility, they don't lack the sharpness of mind. And I was wondering if you have any insight or way that we can also move this, which they'll be very interested in, into the many, many facilities in the country and the world.
Wow, thank you so much. That's a great question, Wanda. I had never thought about that component. That's exactly what we're here to do, raise consciousness like this. But Moon Zoo is a wonderful way that we could connect to that community. In fact, Brian Day just brought to me a wonderful idea just last week about a young person who's going through leukemia and the radiation treatment for leukemia. So he will be in a bubble for some period of time. And he loves the moon. And so how great to have him connected to us through Moon Zoo. And he can identify features, and he can connect with scientists. And I see no reason why the community that you bring up couldn't also do that. But thank you for raising it. We'll put it on our list. Yes.
I can actually jump in and tell you that the EPO leads of the teams met over the last couple of days, and seniors were one target audience that we identified, and we realized it hasn't been targeted nearly as much as the school kids, but the same kinds of visits. You know, probably a lot of people in this room know that senior living places often have speaker series. They are just as happy as a school, maybe happier, to have you come in and talk. Anybody in this room, actually wherever they live, could do that, but we've identified that as a target.
That's fabulous, great.
Thank you. One more comment is, that is the largest generation on this planet.
Thank you.
Is there another question? Go ahead.
Thanks for the wonderful presentation on EPO. Please, I want to know, do you have any international collaboration, maybe from your institute?
Yes, thank you. I regret that when I thought about giving this talk, I didn't think about giving a larger talk about the NLSI in general. The NLSI has not only the 7 domestic teams that I showed you, but 7 international partners. And we have participants from 2 of those countries here today, from Canada and also South Korea. We are very proud of those partnerships, and they do have an EPO program in their country as well. And so I very definitely should have added that in. Thank you so much for bringing it up.
Okay, I think we need to move on to the next speaker.
We're on time.